treat each other kindly, cause it comes back to you. What we do to one another, we do to everyone, all to God's universal truth. We're more alike than different. Each person's like a snowflake, unique as a fingerprint. A divine creation made with love, some round, some tall, some thin. We're all born just the same, but we all go through heaven's gates, more alike than different. One heart, one mind, one soul, more alike than different. Unity is our goal, so treat each other kindly, cause it comes back to you. What we do to one another, we do to everyone, all to God's universal truth. We're more alike than different. Come We're more alike than different. One heart, one mind, one soul. We're more alike than different. Yeah, unity is our goal. So treat each other kindly, cause it comes back to you. What we do to one another, we do to everyone, all to God's universal truth. We're more alike than different. We're more alike than different. We're more alike than different. Yeah. This is your real life story. Everyone's got their own perception. When we grow up, our history can play games. Perception can sometimes be deception. But if you turn something upside down, it won't look the same. You can change your story. There's nothing that went wrong. You've made the best of your time, yeah. One more time, shall we?
All right. What I love about your songs is that I'll hear it once and I can sing along, which is very unique. Hi everybody. Good morning to the big crowd in the sanctuary, and good morning to the big crowd online, because we are doing a hybrid. We're a virtual and in person, and it's always really special to see those of you who show up in person, because there's a different energy about it, right? So this morning we are continuing the theme for October, which is going further together. And the topic today is together forever. And we have music with Kim Yarson and Joe Jakubicki. One of these days I'll know how to say it right. Jakubicki. Did I say it right? That wonderful team, mother and son. Isn't that special? Their music is really wonderful. And so we have an exploration today. We're going to explore how we fit into different communities, how we fit into different tribes. And then we're going to think about how we can expand that. Because now more than ever, we are global. Now more than ever, we can really understand that we're one world, we're one community. And then we're going to feast on the truth, feast on spirit, feast on the source within, which is the way that we navigate our spiritual, physical, mental, emotional journey through life, always going back to the source. My name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. Those of you who are virtual, please check us out on our website. There's also a place where you might decide you want to support our community. There's many different ways to make a donation, and we welcome all of them. And my favorite one is texting to give. If you want to know that number, there's a sheet on the back table that will tell you a little bit more about it. And we have a lot of things going on, because today at noon, our time, Jersey time, I'm teaching a workshop called Relationship as Spiritual Practice. It's the in-person workshop. We had the online one on Thursday, and it was fabulous. And Michael is going to be teaching a chakra workshop on the 26th, which is a week from Tuesday. And we have on Sunday something really special. After Sunday celebration, Frankie has organized this. We are going on a hunger walk, which means that we're going as a group to the Lewanika Park and walk in support of those who are in need. You must register for this. So if you're not getting our emails You can sign up for that, but there is a Breeze link for you to sign up for, and I'm happy to share that with you once our celebration is over. And then, last but not least, Theo Tilton, who is a master teacher for Prosperity Plus, will be teaching Prosperity Plus online starting on the 27th, which is a Wednesday, and every Wednesday after that for a total of 7 weeks. So for those of you who are here, the flyer is on the table in the back. For those of you who are not here, just email us, call us, whatever it is that you need to do. Check out Facebook, check out Twitter, check out Meetup. It's all there. You can't miss it. If you miss it, I don't know where you are. So let's then do what we always do, which is a spiritual mind treatment. And we'd love for those of you who are online to join us in that, because I know it's easier to tune out, right? But also when we're done, let us know where you are, what you're doing, what you need, whether you have questions or comments. It's a wonderful way to communicate with each other online as well. So let's turn within. Let's go from the outer world of effect to the inner world of spirit, of truth, of life, of love, of grace, where we go to that place that has never experienced suffering, because that's our essential nature. And it looks at suffering in a completely different than our self does. It looks at it as an opportunity to expand in consciousness, to learn some things, to grow, and of course to heal, which in our language means the truth revealing itself by means of our consciousness. So today we realize and remember that life is eternal, that this short snippet of a life in this human form is just like a grain of sand on a large beach. There's so much more happening. There's so much more to us, to our consciousness, to our lives, that we can tune into. And so then we realize that this short snippet of the human experience is just like an earth school. It's about growing and expanding our consciousness to remember the oneness of all life, to trust and surrender to this idea that love, capital L, is all there is. And that healing is not curing, it's just an awakening to the truth that already lies within us, always has, always will. And so, how can we not be grateful? Grateful to know that there is a foundation, there is a source within us that is solidly grounded in truth, feeding us and nourishing us. We shift our perception and turn to that instead of to the outer world of division, change, separation, and all the human experiences that go with that. We turn this word over to universal law, knowing that it must, shall, and does demonstrate for each of us in the highest and best ways a life well lived. And so it is. So, hey tribe.
Hello.
You as a tribe are a very big part of my life. And you have been for almost 40 years. I know it's hard to believe, 40 years, because I know I probably look like I'm what, in my 20s? Almost 40 years have I been a part of the religious science, science of mind, Centers for Spiritual Living communities. And I've been a part of several of them. I started as a student, dove right in, committed deeply, volunteered wherever I could, gave my last dollar, because at that time I was almost homeless and incredibly poor. Not to mention my self-esteem was about this high. And then I learned so many amazing tools and principles. So now I live in a world where most of my life is a reflection of all those like you of like mind. And it's a pretty delicious way to be, a pretty delicious way to live. I started out my life in the Netherlands with a large family of 9 children. That tribe was definitely interesting, and it did lay a foundation of consciousness like it does for all of us. And I was part of different communities. I grew up in a tiny little town with 2,000 people, so you couldn't hide. As soon as people would see me and they weren't sure who I was, and I told them I'm Frankie Timmers, and they say, oh yeah, you're the daughter of Nellie and Harry, the painter. Everybody knew you. And so that was a tribe. And then there's the tribe of family, the tribe of friendships. And they're all different, right? Because for me, my very close, intimate friendships is a small group. And then there are the friends that are more casual, and then you have acquaintances, and you have all those tribes. Then you have the tribe of work, the tribe of your town, the tribe of your travels, the tribe of your beloved partner, the tribe of your children. And so all of that is about remembering that we're never alone. And that it's not just here and now, but that we are together forever. Because our consciousness doesn't die. It's just a physical body that at some point dies. And so this morning I read this beautiful article that started out with this quote that I love so much, and I have a couple of really great quotes, but this one I love by Richard Powers. He says, we're now in the middle of a family emergency that will test all family ties. Isn't that great? We're now in the middle of a family emergency that will test all family ties. Only kin, and lots of it, from every corner of creation will help us much in the terrible years to come. That can sound depressing, but it can also sound incredibly exciting because it talks about this idea that we make a difference. Wherever we go, wherever we are. You know, when you see a mobile above a children's crib, you know that when you touch one piece, they all move. The same is true for us. Last week I mentioned the saying by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, that we're all spiritual broadcasting stations. And so we get to check in and say, what am I broadcasting? And knowing that what we broadcast and how we influence our tribes and our environment makes a difference, not to mention lives forever. And so it's Madeline L'Engle who said we can do nothing that does not affect other people. We can do nothing that does not affect other people. No matter how loudly we say, it's my business. No matter how loudly we say, it's my business. In this teaching, 30, 40 years ago, it was very much about me, which is interesting because it's also part of American culture. That individual pioneer spirit, looking for your individual independence. We're a young nation. So in a way, we all kind of act a little bit like teenagers. We can tend to be a little self-absorbed, right? And so now with this whole COVID time, it is forcing us to remember that we're part of something much greater, and who I am and what I do and what I say and what I feel and what I experience does not happen in a vacuum. It affects everything and influences everybody. It ripples out, and we don't always get to see the ripple. And so that's why we want to be more conscious, because we learn that we belong. Lately I've been talking to like at least a handful of people who have said to me, I never feel like I belong. And in my mind, I'm thinking, how is that possible with a planet of almost 8 million people? How is that possible if you have neighbors and friends, if you're a volunteer anywhere, if you work? And so what we know in our teaching, that's a belief. And when we have a belief that we don't belong, we're going to prove it everywhere we go. And so that is something that really wants to be healed right now, because we belong to each other. We belong to spirit. That belonging alone is like standing at an infinite well of love ever pouring over itself into us. So the question then is, how am I receiving besides what am I believing? We have this wonderful common humanity, this common unity. Like you were singing, we're more alike than we're different. We're social creatures. It's already been proven that when somebody is alone or in solitary confinement, like in prison or the orphanages in Romania decades ago, that when people don't connect, they die. And it doesn't start with the physical, it starts with the mental, emotional. So then what we're discovering is that we must heal within us where we feel separate. The sense of separation isn't real, it's not the truth. But when we feel it, when we believe it, when we experience it, it's just the universe saying, hey, it's time to heal that one, because that's a big lie that ripples out and affects everything. We see in the world now that what happens is with the sense of separation, the damage that it does. And so as soon as we say, I'm different from you, and you're not like me, or we're focused on this win-lose kind of consciousness, this competitive kind of consciousness, that it's not just the winners who win, they lose as well. So we're moving from a consciousness of win-lose to a consciousness of win-win. And that asks us of a different way to see each other, to be together, to be in the world. Robin Wall Kimmerer, who's an Indigenous author, and I'm learning to really love her writing. I have her new book, but I forgot the name of it. She says, what happens to one happens to us all. What happens to one happens to us all. We can starve together or we can feast together. The beauty of this teaching and this community is that our commitment and our intention is to feast together and to extend that sense of feasting to others, whatever that looks like for you. And it means that we have to participate. And I know that most of you already are, because if you're on a spiritual path, you're not only aware that everything is connected, but you understand that you are an instrument of the divine and that you are here to be of service, that you influence others by means of who you are and how you think and what you believe. So as an organization for Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a vision, and it's creating a world that works for everyone. That's a huge vision, but a vision has to be huge. The essence of the vision is that it's so big that you can never fully, completely arrive at it. That it's always stretching you and always growing you and always demanding of you to remember that we are all connected. So feasting together just means having the intention, the commitment to thrive. And if you and I aren't thriving, or we have areas of our lives that aren't thriving, or we have experiences that don't reflect thriving, that just means that something wants to be healed. A limiting belief wants to be seen and dissolved. And so we ask the question, what is it that works? for me. It doesn't mean that we all become Pope or Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama, because some of our way of serving is very quiet and very private. We're not all social activists, but we can all pray for the planet and for all of humanity and spend some time each day to do so. We can ask ourselves, what is mine to do, Spirit? Which is my question every morning. How may I serve? And sometimes it just means a kind word to a stranger. I have a tendency, when I see somebody stop by the road, to stop and ask if they need help. It's just a thing. I have rarely had anybody say to me, yes, can you help me change a tire? Which I can, by the way. But most of the time, no, but it's just a thought. Can I reach out? In a grocery store, if somebody is elderly or has a disability, it doesn't cost me anything but to say, can I help you? When I see a homeless person, instead of averting my eyes, I can look at them and nod or put my hand on my heart. It doesn't always mean I have to give anything. But there are moments in life where we can do those really small little ways of service that mean everything. And so the question is, how do we share? If you're sitting here and you're saying, I have no idea, just come and talk to me, I'll give you a list. One thing that we can be involved with locally is Morris Area Together. They're doing some really great work around criminal justice and home solutions, homelessness, and also around, what's the third one? Criminal justice, housing, and mental health. And they are a powerful organization that is doing some amazing work locally. And so what we're really doing is we're saying, I see the me in the we. I see the we in the me. I think with this health challenge that I've experienced this year, that has been the greatest gift, to have compassion for people that are going through health challenges and to look at it in a different way, to look at it as, how can I be a spark? Even while healing, how can I make a difference? And I have some wonderful ideas that I want to be doing in service to those who are going through health challenges in a way I was never able to before because I didn't understand. And so this is asking us to say, it's not just my business, it's our business. And how can I make it our business? How can I have a more expanded view of humanity and what I have left out of my consciousness? How can I invite that in a way that doesn't stir up fear, but stirs up more love? Because we know that the infinite well of love is already within us, and it's here to support us and to guide us. So I have this wonderful prayer I want to do with you. We're going to do it twice. The first time we're going to do it is right now. It is a prayer that was written around 700 AD by Shanti Deva, who was a Buddhist monk of the Mahayana tradition. And this is the prayer it is said that the Dalai Lama does every single day. And so I'm going to say the line, we're going to repeat it, and then we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to listen for the blessing. To me, to pause when you do a prayer and really allow it to speak back to you in your own unique way, as a way to teach you, guide you, support you, bless you, is very powerful. Because I don't know about you, but I was raised Catholic, and I was taught the Our Father and the Hail Mary, and I probably did it a gazillion times, but I never thought about the words until I came into this teaching. And then I had to look at it in a personal way and in a science of mind way, and now it has a whole different life. It's become a living prayer. So close your eyes. Take a nice, slow, deep breath. Feel your heart open, and if that's a challenge for you, just imagine it. And I will speak the line, we will repeat it together, and we'll pause for a moment. Here we go. May I be a guard for those who need protection. Together, may I be a guard for those who need protection. Pause, listen. A guide for those on the path. Together, a guide for those on the path. Pause. A boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. A boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. Pause. May I be a lamp in the darkness. Together. May I be a lamp in the darkness. Pause. A resting place for the weary. Repeat. A resting place for the weary. Pause. A healing medicine for all who are sick. Repeat. A healing medicine for all who are sick. Pause. A vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. Repeat. A vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. Pause. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, repeat, and for the boundless multitudes of living beings, pause, may I bring sustenance and awakening. Repeat, may I bring sustenance and awakening. Pause. Enduring like the earth and sky, repeat, and enduring like the earth and sky, pause. Until all beings are freed from sorrow, repeat, until all beings are freed from sorrow, pause. And all are awakened. Repeat. And all are awakened. Pause. And so now bring your attention back. When we pause after a phrase or a word, we can listen for how it has already been embodied and how it still wants to be embodied. We can listen and notice what's in the way. And that gives us information about the healing work that wants to happen inside of us. And how do we do that? We go back to the source, go back to the truth. So what we're really doing is like the 3 R's. We're reflecting, we're taking time, we're pausing, we're listening, with love and hope and compassion. And then we recognize, which just means to know again, we recognize what's in the way. And we weave it into the prayer or the spiritual practice that we're doing in that moment. And then we reveal, which is really our word for healing. Healing is spirit revealing itself. So what's revealed is how we can be aware that we are an instrument, that we are influencers, that we have something to give as a unique individualized expression of the one that's completely unique like no other, and to extend that from a place of fullness, of feasting, instead of starving. So it's turning to the source for guidance. What is mine to do? How may I serve? What is mine to give? Because each of us, as instruments of the divine, are needed in the world. I was gifted a puzzle last year because I found that puzzling during the winter time, during COVID time, was really cool meditative practice. And there was a piece missing. It was the most annoying thing. You know how annoying it is when you're doing a puzzle and one piece is missing. Well, if you and I are not of service by sharing our gifts and talents, then there is a missing piece in the puzzle universally, which of course has a much greater effect than a darn little piece of cardboard in a physical puzzle. And I think we have to think that way more. In order to thrive, in order to feast, we have to remember our tribes, and we have to always expand this idea of tribes. That it's not just CSLM, CSL, this community, your family, your friends. It's always more than that. It's always bigger than that. And the invitation is always to say, how am I a part of the feast instead of a part of the starvation? Lao Tzu, who was an ancient wisdom teacher who was said to have written the Tao Te Ching, but it's a mystery. He says, he who loves the world as his body may be entrusted with an empire. Or she who loves the world as her body may be entrusted with an empire. We are entrusted with the empire of all of humanity, common humanity. It's our empire that we are in service to. So I want to close doing the prayer again, and we're just going to go call and response. I'll say a line and then you repeat it after me, okay? May I be a guard for those who need protection. A guide for those on the path. A boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness.
May I be a lamp in the darkness.
And a resting place for the weary.
And a resting place for the weary.
A healing medicine for all who are sick.
A healing medicine for all who are sick.
A vase of plenty, a tree of miracles.
A vase of plenty, a tree of miracles.
And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening.
May I bring sustenance and awakening.
Enduring like the earth and sky.
Enduring like the earth and sky.
Until all beings are freed from sorrow.
Until all are freed from sorrow.
And all are awakened.
And all are awakened.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All right, Joe and Kim will bless us with some new music.
stronger than ever. We are one. We are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. We are one. Living on this earthly plane for a little while, giving love, sharing gifts, this footprint of the time. Life may be short, but our conscience lives on and on. It's pretty easy, everybody wanna try it? We are one, we're all in this together. We are one, stronger than ever. We are one, we are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. We are one. Some days we're all wrapped up in me, myself and I. We forget we need each other to get to the other side. It all makes perfect sense when we live life in harmony. We are one. We're all in this together. We are one. We're stronger than ever. We are one. We are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. We are one. We're all in this together. We are one. We're stronger than ever. We are one. We are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. All for one and one for all. Let's raise each other together strong. We are one. We're all in this together. We are one. Come on, everybody. We're stronger than ever. We are one. We are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. We are one. We're all in this together. We are one. We're stronger than ever. We are one. 'Cause we are all connected, so let's love this life together and have fun. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are
Yes! She just wrote that song. Like,
Yesterday.
there it comes, pouring out. I love it. Thank you so much.
Your inspiration.
Yeah, great song. I love it. So, at noon, which means that you get to hang around a little bit, we're going to start our workshop, Relationship as a Spiritual Practice, which is not just about intimate relationships, it's about all relationships. We're going to explore this idea that we all have more room to love, to receive love, to heal. On Thursday, it was so interesting because there was definitely some awareness that the issue is not always that it's hard for us to give love, but it's harder for us to receive it. So that was really cool. So we're going to explore that. It's until 2 o'clock. If you haven't registered yet, you can just stay. We're just going to hang out here and learn some things together about what it means to be in a relationship to life, right? So if you have questions about next week's Hunger Walk, speak to Franny. I'll be there with all of you. We're going to have fun. And just remember, we have lots of things happening in our community. You're all invited to be a part of it. There's a lot of changes, some movement that you're going to hear about. We'll plan a town hall meeting. So if you're not on our email list, let us know. We'll happily put you on there. So let's do a closing healing treatment, our word for affirmative prayer. I invite you to close your eyes. And if it feels comfortable, just place your hand on your heart. And imagine that you're breathing right into your heart. It's just one way to become a little more present. So right here, right now, we start out with this beautiful spiritual idea of the one life, the one power, the one presence that permeates everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. It is what connects us. And it's connected by means of a stream of infinite unconditional love that is everywhere present, but most of it we find within our own hearts, within our own mind, within our own consciousness. And life shows us where we say no to it so that we can say yes to it. And that yes to the infinite stream of divine love is what heals us and therefore heals everything happening on the planet. So right now, we place our mother, the earth, in our hearts, and we keep her close so that we can keep her in our prayers as she suffers. We place all of humanity in our hearts, and we extend that infinite well of love, allowing humanity to heal and become once again infinitely connected, which it always has been, always will be. It's just a sense of separation that created this separation. And now we are turning this ship around into the oneness of all life as an instrument of divine love and as a presence of healing. Trusting this word, this activity, this movement allows for us to witness not just ourselves as a feaster, but everyone else as well. And so we let go of whatever is in the way, whether we're conscious of it or not. And a greater sense of freedom contributes to the cultivation of a world that works for everyone. And so it is.
And so it is.
And we have a little more music.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. La 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 di da, 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 la 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 di da. I choose to be centered. I choose to be grounded. Right here, right now, right from this very crowd. I choose to be present, as present as possible. Knowing my purpose is clear and has been found. Open and aware of every mystery. Getting in the light, it's all shimmery. I'm standing on my own, my well-balanced home, centered and grounded. Everybody! La 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 da, 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 la 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 da. Choose to have wisdom, wisdom that's forever. Available to all who choose as a way to come together. I choose to be connected. I choose to have spirit. And let go of the heaviness and float just like a feather. Open and aware of every mystery. I'm letting in the light, it's all shimmery. Standing on my own, my well-balanced home, centered and grounded. Joey, how grounded are you today? to be. Heading in the light, it's all chivalry. Standing on my own, I walk back home, centered in ground. Bridge and higher wisdom to tap into. We each learn at our own pace. Doesn't matter how we get there, this ain't a race. Open and aware of every mystery. Letting in the light and it's all chivalry. Standing on my own, my love bounds home. Standing on my own, this old yoga pose centered and ground. La 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 da, 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 la.